That's fine. Just one. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh,
Like I can't
um,
tell if I look okay or whatever.
yeah. No, you look great. Hi, everybody. It's Mary Nack and Wes Walker, both of Compass, as we do our weekly muse on all things about Chicago, and sometimes we even talk about real estate. So I actually just got off a call with a fella from Naples, Florida, who had reached out to me. He's looking for a referral um, contact for Chicago. He's also a Compass colleague, and this is they're actually it's kind of interesting. The Naples market is starting to ramp up. This is when we start to ramp down over the holidays, they start ramping up because all the snowbirds are heading south for the winter.
Well,
So
probably all the even people doing holidays down there too.
right, yeah, exactly. So that's really kind of interesting how, but it kind of brings a point that something that we probably don't talk about often enough, and that is that Compass is a national company, and you and I are connected to people all over the country.
Yeah, and I think the difference that most people don't understand, maybe even people at the company, but that everybody thinks of these other ones as being national too,
Mm,
Coldwell Banker and, Century 21 and Keller Williams and everything else. But what they don't understand is those are all franchises. So
mhm.
each office is completely separate, separately owned, operated. They may meet people at some convention or something, but it's definitely not the same thing. We're operating as one company uh, with managers and said, like, you and I both have a favorite, manager in Philadelphia. That's one of
Mhm.
our kind of go-to, like, not only people we are on calls with every day, but also that we go to for help. And we've got people in different parts of the country that do have different, positions and levels with Compass that we're all personally connected to. And you and I have been around the block in real estate for decades, and we've never seen anything like that. There's never,
No.
no,
Well,
there's
when we were at Sotheby's, what I tell people, Sotheby's is kind of like a McDonald's franchise. Each office is independently, they're part of the Realogy universe, as is Century 21, as is, I don't know who all. I think Realogy owns like everybody except for Compass, but they own. They own Caldwell Banker? No, Caldwell
Yeah, they
Banker.
do.
They
They do.
do. Okay. Yeah. And they own Century 21 and they own Sotheby's. And but all of those offices are, I mean, so there's it's huge corporate umbrella that they all operate under. But every one of those
But
offices
individually, yeah.
are owned individually, just like a McDonald's is owned individually. Um, and what's interesting about that is many of the things that Compass um, has rolled out, like the concierge program, for example. Well, because we're one national company and we have um, um, venture capital that believes in what we're doing in terms of technology and upgrading the industry for they have these deep pockets that they can do a program like the concierge program, um, which I don't think, well, for sure, an independently owned franchise like the Sotheby's office that you and I were at together. There's no way they can compete with that.
Well, and to explain what you're talking about, our concierge program is where the company provides the costs up front for a redo or rehab or refresh of the home before it goes on the market. And interest free. It's collected at closing, but yeah, they front the money interest free for that to happen.
Yeah.
Um, you
Well, we
know,
should be
the
clear.
tens of
It's not
sometimes
a,
even hundreds of
yeah.
thousands of dollars. So yeah.
Well, it's not meant to be a rehab. It's meant to be a refresh. So it's not for the
Well,
fix and flippers.
I mean, well, you can't fix, yeah, it's not for fix and flip, but you can do extensive rehab. It just has to be on a case by case basis. But I mean, they've done concierge up to almost $200,000. So actually, there was one that was $1 million. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's just you can't just like go through the 24-hour process on that.
Mhm,
But yeah, it's, 10, 20, $30,000 ones are pretty common for us. But
mhm, mhm.
um, yeah, it can be more extensive than that. But I mean, who else can front the money, you know,
Exactly.
for
Right.
that, and take the risk? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I just kind of wanted to bring it up because this fella had reached out to me over the weekend. We had a Zoom call to connect, and it occurred to me, we don't talk enough about the Compass community and the network that we have access to, and something that for sure our clients should take advantage of. So if you're thinking about going to Florida and what
Wherever, yeah.
yeah, whatever, or California or Colorado. We have a good friend who manages an office in Colorado too that we know. Um, but
So we can connect you with whoever you need
but yeah,
to.
but what was interesting, yeah, exactly. And what Nick was telling me is really interesting. That so kind of what ends up happening is that it's very difficult to find rentals when this time of year because what ends up happening is, people want to rent for 6 months.
Mhm.
So they'll rent from, I don't know, November to what would that be? May.
May, yeah.
And they do a 6 month rental and snowbirds come and they do the holidays and, whatever. And they'll do that for a couple of years and then they realize, you know what, this is really a fun thing to do. We really enjoy this. We have the ability, particularly now with COVID, of course, people can be so much more mobile and not so tied into their place of work anymore. But mainly, of course, he's talking about retirees who aren't tied to a location anyway, other than through their kids and grandkids, et cetera. Um, but so they'll rent for a couple of years and kind of test the waters and see if they like it, and then they end up buying a condo so that when they go back
Mhm.
the following years. So that's kind of the progression of how that works. So
Hmm.
I actually just met with a client last week who I sold them their home in 2016, and they have family in Central Florida, like around Orlando. And come spring, they want to put their home on the market and um, you know um, move to Central Florida, which I think Central Florida is beautiful. I love this time of year in Central Florida is so lovely. It's not humid and they actually kind of have a bit of a season, not the way we have seasons, of course. I mean, they don't have leaves turning red and things like that, but the foliage does die down and it's quite lovely and the weather's beautiful and it's be 50s, 60s at night and 70, 80s during the day and sunny and no humidity and yeah, I mean I could live there. Only it's not that way all year round. That's the only problem. come,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
come June and July, of course, it's 100% humidity and
Well,
all that.
that's my thing about Florida. It's just too humid for me, even in the winter. But
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
can see why some people like it. But if you're affected by the humidity like I am, I think I'm more of a Arizona, Nevada, Southern California kind of retreater.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that. Although I have noticed as I have aged that when I'm out there in those dry climates, I'm like I'm walking around with a bottle of hand lotion because I just get too dried out.
Uh, uh,
So,
Pulls it right out of you.
right? Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
heard
what else is
recently.
going on? Yeah.
One of the well, I think it was maybe on one of the calls you were on too, about one of the guys from Colorado talking about that, about people don't realize because they're high desert and they actually have a desert climate and it's very dry, and that unlike Arizona and Nevada, when people go there, they know, like, to hydrate and to wash their skin and lips and all that kind of stuff. But then in Colorado, it pulls the fluids out of everybody, and they're not aware of it. So they often end up dehydrated and have, skin issues and all that because they're not watching it. But because you just don't think of Denver as being, a desert climate, but it is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a high desert plateau. Yeah, absolutely. I remember we were at a conference there, oh, probably 10 or 15 years ago. We were there in March, and we'd gotten up. We were going to go into the mountains. It was it was Monday through Friday were the meetings, and then we were flying out Sunday, I think, or something like that. And we were staying the weekend to just kind of experience Denver a little bit. And we got up Saturday morning, and honest to God, there was like a foot of snow on the ground, like 7 in the morning. It had snowed overnight.
Yeah.
And of course, in Chicago parlance, it's like, oh my God, we're going to be snowed in until May. Well, guess what? By noon, it was gone. The
Yeah.
pavement was dry. The sun came out, everything melted. I mean, the moisture just like totally evaporated. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, we're not
Yeah.
in Kansas anymore, Toto.
That's why too, like even even during, most of the winter months, if you're even up in the mountains there, if you're skiing, you can go down into town on most days and sit outside, even though there may be, I don't know, 15 feet of snow on the slopes, you could sit outside at a restaurant and it's perfect in the sun and it's perfectly comfortable,
Mhm,
because it's that dryness makes such a difference in how you feel the cold.
mhm,
But yeah, yeah, it can be nice.
mhm. Well, I don't know. I think we're making a really good pitch for moving to Colorado. We
Yeah.
could sell, we could sell
Guess
real
a lot
estate
of people
anyway.
are. Yeah.
Right. So how did you find the time change? This is the good time change where I was up at 5:30 this morning.
Oh, yeah. I actually am glad for the time change because,
It was
um,
getting dark out. It was getting light out so late.
yeah, well, it was, yeah, in the mornings were too dark for me, and I need to have at least some signs that there's light coming for me to get going. The
Right.
sun doesn't need to be up, but I need to see a little bit of,
It has to start
twilight or
getting light out, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I guess we're early birds, but well, the downside, of course, is come 4 o'clock, I'm ready for dinner.
I thought you were gonna say a cocktail.
Well, that too. Ready for cocktails and
Four o'clock.
dinner.
4 o'clock
Hey,
is
did you cook for me this weekend?
well, I cooked, but it didn't make as much as I thought. So
Oh,
made a Hungarian goulash last night, but you may miss out.
oh, boo-hoo. Okay. Wes has been cooking for me lately. Wes likes to cook and he's been giving me his overs, and I told him he was hired.
Yeah, I like the batch cooking.
So Bob and I went and got, after hearing your mother's story about her shingles incident after she got her booster shot. Bob and I decided we weren't going to take any chances. We were going to go and get our shingles vaccine.
She actually got it from the flu shot.
Oh, the flu shot.
Yeah, she actually just got her booster on Friday, but yeah, it was the flu shot that, and they don't know for sure, but I guess it can have that effect. I guess maybe any of the vaccinations can, that it can like trigger like an autoimmune sort of response.
Mhm.
So, and it happened literally right after she got her flu shot, and both the dermatologist and her regular doctor said it's probably from that, but there's no way they would ever know for sure, but that it
Mhm.
probably triggered something.
Well, you've done a lot of study on, not that we pretend to be medical authorities by any
Oh,
stretch of the imagination, but
speak for yourself.
well, I was just going to say, um, but I don't know. To me, the flu shot feels like a different animal than a COVID vax or a shingles vax. Or I mean, it's not really a vaccination the way the other vaccinations are.
Well, I guess if they're the RNAs, then it's probably not the same, but I guess it in a
Well,
way it might.
I don't even mean in that regard. I just mean it seems like it's such a crapshoot with flu every year. They never know what strain is going to come out, and
Oh, right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, the shot themselves may not be that different, but it if it's working toward the actual virus that's in the community at the time is a crapshoot for sure. Yeah.
mhm, mhm. So
But
I know that I had my previous doctor. She was actually pretty negative about flu shots.
mhm.
And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure. Well, she was into. I mean, she was a regular, fully board certified
Was in
internal.
the holistic thing, yeah.
Yeah, she was board certified internal medicine, but she was very much into exploring alternative
Mhm.
methods, and certainly encourage that, which is really unusual for an MD actually. But yeah, she was not big on the flu shot. So I'm sure that that there is a time and a place, and a medical condition that warrants it. But I've never been a and I'm certainly not an anti-vaxxer by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot more of a mix with the flu shots than anything else. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's just because they don't really know the strain that,
Hmm.
when they start making those things in April and May, so that they have enough flu shots for everybody, and
Hmm.
they don't know what strain of flu is going to be out there. And I'm sure that as time goes by, and as the um, the science gets better, that the technology gets better, I'm sure that that shot probably gets better. But
Yeah. Well, and it's ironic like I said with my mom, it was the flu shot, and she had both COVID shots and had no issues other than a sore arm.
mhm,
Her booster on Friday, and it was the same thing.
mhm.
But which you would think would be a much more serious and intense sort of vaccination. Yeah, but yet the flu shot triggered a
Yeah, an episode of the
shingles.
shingles. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And your mother had shingles.
he had them. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons they thought that it was an autoimmune response, was because usually once you have them, you're unlikely to get them again.
Hmm.
And not only did she get them, and that was like, I don't know, 15 years ago, but
Hmm.
not only did she get them again, but like literally right after it started, right after the flu shot.
Mhm.
And I think she even felt something on the way home,
Oh,
like that.
wow. Hmm.
Yeah. So, and for a while thought she had like a ear infection or something that was kind of
Poor
accumulating
thing.
in her ears. But um, so yeah, it's ironic that it was the kind of more of like a run of the mill flu shot that she had a response to, and nothing to the COVID shots.
Well, my two older brothers are like so totally into getting everything they can possibly get.
Yeah.
So, I'm not exactly in that camp, but yeah, they are totally into that, and they were yelling at me the other night about not getting my booster. I think I'm going to go on Wednesday to get. So now they've changed actually with the boosters about if you had the Moderna. They were saying initially that if you had the Moderna shot, you should stick with the Moderna for your booster. Or if you had the Pfizer shot, you should stay with the Pfizer shot for your booster. But now they're saying the exact opposite. They're saying if you had the Moderna, initially you should go and get the Pfizer, and vice versa, because it gives you a broader.
What my brother-in-law and my sister and brother-in-law and their family did, but from research he did. But my infectious disease doctor friend said, just get whatever you can.
Right. Well,
That don't worry about
you
it.
can
That it
walk,
won't
you
make
can
that much
walk
difference.
into, yeah, when we went and had our shingles vaccine yesterday, they, I don't know, we went to Mariano's actually. We had gone to Walgreens originally, and the Walgreens was a total fiasco. I don't recommend. I mean, I went online, I made appointments, filled out the forms, blah, blah, blah. And we got over there, and I told the guy, we've got a 3 o'clock appointment. He's like, well, you're going to have to stand in line with everybody else. So we're standing in line for half an hour. And, for Bob, standing in line is a little difficult because, he
Mhm.
has trouble standing for any length of time. But anyway, I sat him down over on a bench in the corner. Then we finally get called, and they had no idea about the medical forms that I had filled out, no idea about, the fact that we had appointments. It was all meaningless. We had to redo the forms and everything. I'm like, well, at that point, I was disgusted and said, I'm out of here. We're not doing anything today. We're out of here. Anyway, so we went to Mariano's and their pharmacy, and they were great. I mean, we walked right up, walked right in, but they weren't doing the Pfizer booster shots that day. So we have to go back. But
Yeah.
The woman who gave us our shots said we could just walk into Jewel. So I guess Jewel, you don't need an appointment. You can just walk in. I should say Osco, not.
Well, we did that at CVS, the one in Old Town on Wells, or downtown on Wells in River North, actually. But I mean, it took us like 60 seconds. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
For your booster, you mean?
Yeah, for the boosters. Yeah, it was ridiculous how simple and easy it was.
Yeah.
We just walked up there. He was typing in like our info while the girl like pulled up the shot and gave it to us in the arm. And they gave us a piece of paper and we were out of there. It was literally like a minute or two.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, the shingles vaccine, oh my gosh. I mean, my arm is sore. I mean, but it was like this hairline needle, a tiny, thin little needle, but it was about 1.5 inches long.
Yeah.
That needle. Then they have to shoot it into the deltoid muscle up here at the top of your shoulder. And oh my gosh, it's like, well, no wonder it hurts. It's got, this 2-inch, this 2-inch thing, and anyway, whatever. But so that's our excitement for the week. Time change, shingles vaccine, COVID boosters.
We're all set.
We're all set. Yeah. I think I'm going to go in on Wednesday though, because next week we're all headed off to Austin talking about Compass and whatnot. Yeah, we're all headed off to Austin. So you actually won't be here next week.
I won't. I'll be en route.
You'll be en route. I think actually next week we're due for our monthly market update. So I'll reach out to Terrence and have Terrence and me will do our monthly market update. But it seems like the market is maybe it's a nice weather. I don't know, but it seems like it's gotten a little more active. I don't know. What are you seeing? Everybody was full of vinegar yesterday with the time change. We're back singing in the choir at church. I mean, we all wear masks. We're all masked, which is a bummer. But
singing.
I know, singing with a mask. I know, right? And actually, our choir director turned us on to a product that you can spray on your glasses, and you let it dry. And it prevents your glasses from fogging up, which I got to tell you, wearing a mask and trying to read music and your glasses fog up. I mean, it's challenge enough without the fogging up thing,
Well, when I was a scuba diver, when I was a swimmer too, the way we had to do it to keep your goggles from fogging on the inside was you spit.
Oh, right. You put saliva, right.
And when I was scuba diving, it was the same thing because you could really steam up your mask, but you did the same thing. So maybe you should just try
spit on my glasses, huh?
The choir.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm wearing a mask, so so it's I'd have to pull my mask down.
You can get in there. You can get in there.
No, but I mean, it was weird. It was like the time change or something in the nice weather. I swear to God, I had like 3 or 4 phone calls in the middle of church yesterday. I'm like, thank God I had my ringer shut off. But it's like, what the hell? What's going on?
I'm surprised you didn't answer it.
Oh, stop. Well, there was an A+ client that reached out to me, which he normally would not. He would know better, and I figured there had to be something. So I did send him a quick text saying I'd call him back in half an hour, but but it was right. Yeah, it's a little distracting. I mean, on top of everything else, having your phone ringing while you're trying to, sing the choir anthem, it's highly distracting. So. Uh,
All right. Well, good to see you, Mary.
yeah,
Good
good to see you.
everybody.
Have a good week. And we won't see you next week, but hopefully it'll be Terrence. And I guess we won't even see you the following week either, right? You're going to be gone.
I'll be in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah. So poor you. You're going to be in Mexico.
Yeah.
What part of Mexico are you going to?
Cozumel.
That's on the Gulf Coast, right?
No. Well, it's in the Caribbean. It's south of, it's off the Yucatan Peninsula, so it's in the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's what I that's what I meant.
Well,
That's
north
what I
of
meant.
north of the peninsula is the Gulf, so it's
Oh.
on the Caribbean side.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good week, everybody. If you have any questions, want to reach out to us, you moving to Florida or Colorado or LA, we can help you out with that. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
All
Bye
right.
for now.
Bye.